I'm here with J-Def. Please welcome to Healing Festival.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
You are an international Kundalini Yoga teacher. You also share the tradition of Ayurveda, and you are a founder of the Life Force Academy. And I'm wondering, who was J-Def before all of this?
Great question. I'm not so sure. I mean, it was this me, you know, but the thing about all those things, Kundalini Yoga, Ayurveda, Jyotish, which is Vedic astrology, they're all just things that help you to become more of actually who you really are. It's not to make you something you're not, you know, because like Ayurveda is all about, for instance, it's just nature and being in harmony with nature. But not just nature like this, but like we are nature, you know, our bodies, our minds, and to how do I bring forth what I really am? And that's a whole life, you know, that's never ending, you know, it's always blossoming, always unfolding. So before all of this I was me, but now I'm much more of me, is how I feel.
I see.
Yeah.
So what was the pivotal moment?
Well, when I was a young person, a couple of different things. I grew up in the southeast part of the United States, so more conservative part of the country, and so always as a younger person, kind of struggling to find my footing or find how do I fit in, you know, and this and that, and then so searching for myself, you know. And then I also got sick as a young person. I had some illnesses that the medical community was not able to help me with very well. So that turned me towards looking for other things, and that's how eventually I discovered yoga, and then Ayurveda, and it healed me. It healed, and I haven't. But then that was just really the catalyst that turned me in that direction. You know, I was searching for sure. Now that I look back at it, when at the time it just seemed, you know, like random things. But now looking back at it, doesn't seem random at all. It was, you know, some sort of like, you know, cascade of synchronicities that then led
guidance.
To yes, so something like this.
Was there some specific person who introduced you to certain practices or traditions?
Well, when I had first just graduated from high school, I was 18 years old. I remember at that point, my father had told me about the Dalai Lama. And so at that point I was reading every book I could find, because where I lived there was no yoga centers or anything like this. I didn't even know what yoga was. And so I was reading everything I could find from the Dalai Lama, and the Buddhist teachings really were connecting with me. But then I graduated high school and I moved to study music production. And I was at a university and met a person. He invited me to come. He said, my yoga teacher is coming to do a class, and I didn't know what yoga. I mean, I've heard of yoga, but all I knew about it was something that have to do with spirituality and stretching, and that's all I knew. And so I remember being in like my dorm room the night before trying to stretch because I was feeling very nervous. But then I went, and it was just in somebody's backyard, you know, on the grass. And the person showed up, and I did the class. It was a Kundalini Yoga class. And then that same teacher, he was doing another class in the park that same day, and I also went to that. And then for like a week, I felt like I was floating, you know, and I was like, wow, because it really made an impact on me. And then I would do it as much as he would come. I would do it when he would come, but he lived hours away, so maybe once a month. And then he told me, he said, you know, I can't come that often. You should just lead the class. You know, you just teach, read the exercises, tell them to. And so I started doing that with the other students at the university, and I've never stopped. You know, it just kind of it worked. You know, it happened. You know, in some ways it feels very much like I was somehow picking up where I left off. Maybe I don't know. It's a mystery. You know, but I never was looking to be a teacher or anything, but this is what happened. Yeah.
But it's interesting that the very first class you attended was actually Kundalini Yoga. I wonder how it would be different if it was Ashtanga, for example.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Like, no, this destroys me. I hate it.
Maybe I wouldn't have resonated. Maybe I would. I don't know. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you studied music production, so I was wondering like what kind of music you usually like, or
I love all kinds of music. I love good music, and it doesn't matter what genre if it's good, you know, or at least good how I think is good. But I love music is my main love still to this day, and even what we do in Life Force Academy, music is a very big part of it. I work with the most fabulous, masterful musicians. And if people have experienced anything I've done or Life Force Academy, they hear the music, and we produce all our own music. Yeah.
Is there some band or artist you would like to mention?
Yes, yeah. The artist and the band that I work with is Simrit, Simrit. She's phenomenal, and they are. She is the singer, and they are a band, a 5-piece band of. And we've been working together for over a decade, and they also do their own thing, and they're touring. They tour all over the world, and extraordinary. But then we also work together, and for the Kundalini Yoga practices, they are the sound. They provide the soundtrack.
Yeah. So it sounds very powerful.
It is. Yeah, it's powerful, but it's fun. Fun and
is it
anybody.
Part?
What?
Is it important part for you to have fun also during the practice?
Absolutely, yeah, because otherwise it gets too dry and boring, too rigid, and too many rules, and spirituality doesn't need to be like tight, you know? Discipline is important, so we're taking care of ourselves and staying healthy and being mindful about what we're doing, having good boundaries, living our lives with wisdom. But that doesn't mean rigidity, you know. In fact, it should be more fun, and that's what I think is good to know. That especially as you move along with this, and the hard part of what we say spiritual practices. Well, I just say yoga practice because there's nothing that isn't. Everything is spiritual to some degree, but the difficult part is because it requires transformation of mental patterns and emotional patterns that. Particularly the ones that are causing us to be miserable and to be unhappy and to suffer and to help other people to suffer. My suffering also causes the people around me to suffer some. So, but also my happiness causes the people around me to be a little more happy. So to become aware of the mental and emotional patterns that I have that are causing me to be miserable, when I can be aware of them, that's a good thing because now I can transform them and become happier. Yeah. And when you start to actually become happier, you do start to have more fun. It's true.
How such happiness look like every day during everyday life?
Yeah, just like this.
Just like this?
Just happy, but it doesn't have to be in the forest. You know, you could be in also somewhere you don't want to be, but you still can be happy because what you're working with in yoga, meditation, when I say yoga, I don't just mean the exercise, I mean the path of becoming what we really are, you know, of self-realization. And when you're trying to become genuinely happy, that's a happiness that does not depend on your outer environment, or is the relationship happening, or there's no relationship, the money is coming, the money is going. All those are very real things, and we may feel up and we may feel down. That's natural, but underneath that there can be a deeper thing, a deeper bliss that gives a real genuine happiness. So even when you're in a lot of pain and it's creating grief, is a type of suffering, but even out of that is love is coming, and we're becoming more of ourselves when the difficult time, if we have genuine, real happiness, not just, it's so good, real happiness that even when we're facing the most difficult times in our life, still underneath that is love and compassion, compassion for ourselves, compassion for our own bodies and our own predicament. I always say that, compassion for our own predicament. We're all in a predicament, you know. We come into this world, into these bodies, and one day we're going to have to go. That's a predicament. They know that word in Czech?
Yeah,
predicament.
Like, yeah, definitely. There is a word for that. Yeah.
So compassion, love, and then the beautiful thing is that then you can start to trust life, because you know that even though difficulties will come, it's only going to make you better. And then when the good times come, you don't emotionally grasp onto them, because when we're always emotionally grasping onto the good things, when the bad things come, we get emotionally, slapped by them, because there's too much attachment in this. So I think sometimes we think that, if I don't grasp onto the good things, whatever they may be, the things that feel good, then I'll lose the happiness, but it's or I won't be able to enjoy it. But my experience is quite the opposite. When I'm less attached to things going my way, then I can actually enjoy them more, because I'm not depending on them to do something that they could never do anyways, which is they will never fulfill me, The most beautiful relationship will never fulfill me totally. The most money will never fulfill me totally, although I like money. I like a beautiful relationship. But then you can appreciate it for what it is, as opposed to gripping onto it for something that it's not. So it's actually trying to be in reality. Yeah.
What is some misconception you encountered about your reality, about your work, people usually have?
About my work or my reality?
Both of it.
I have so many misconceptions I have all the time.
Can you share some glimpse?
I mean, on a personal level, I'm always how I used to think of things. I don't anymore, And I used to, especially when I was younger. I'm still not too old, but 20s, 30s. So convinced of how things, and because sometimes when you get into yoga practice, meditation, you have amazing experiences, blissful experiences, transcendental, mystical experiences, and even that can become very convincing. It's I've seen the truth, and you want to tell
I'm enlightened.
Yeah, enlightened, but in actuality, it's a very limited perspective. And that's just the tip of the ice. It's an opening that feels something like an enlightenment, but it's not an ultimate enlightenment. It's a relative awakening to something new, but there's just layers upon layers upon layers. So I've had so many misconceptions all along the way, and I'm sure I have misconceptions now that I don't even realize are misconceptions, because I don't even know what I don't know. So that's why my approach, and this is maybe something that's changed actually, my approach in the work over the years, is it's much less about trying to know how things are, and much more trying to enjoy the mystery and be a part of this is a mystery. What is this? It's magic, in a certain way. But we're so become so normalized to it. It's how we've known. We've always seen the forest. But then when you get to open the channels, and Kundalini Yoga practice, open the channels, bring the mind into its meditative space, all of a sudden it's not normal anymore. It's you're in some sort of mysterious, magical world. And again, not just in the forest, with your children, with your family, even though they may be annoying you and triggering you.
But they're definitely a mystery. That's true.
Definitely a mystery. Definitely, as we are to them.
We are all complexities.
Yes, that's right. Nothing is black or white. Everything is so multifaceted. Something like this. Yeah.
Is it something what Kundalini Yoga specifically taught you? Like you did not find in other streams of yoga, let's say, or types?
Well, because I kind of started with Kundalini Yoga, it's really been the main thing for me. So it's taught me so much. I owe so much to it, really. One thing, just kind of back to the previous question you had asked about misconceptions, or I don't know if it's quite a misconception, but over the last decades, many decades since Kundalini Yoga was introduced to the modern world, as we know it now, often is practiced in very masculine ways, very warrior, and it is a warrior practice, but we need a warrior practice because we have big things happening in our life. We have major stress, we have major aspirations. Sometimes you have to kind of draw the sword, inner sword, and enough with the nonsense to our own mind, you know, and cut through something. So if you're really committed to being happy, sometimes you have to be a warrior, but then you also have to be soft and sweet and feminine. And so my approach to even the physical parts of the practice, how the breathing is much softer than it used to be. And it's still just as more powerful, even, because if just like love making and courtship, if you just go right hard, it's like it's too much. If you start soft, gentle, then things open, and then the love can flow, and it's open, and there's receptivity. It's the same way with working with our chi, with the life force prana. Open, then it starts to flow. You feel good. All of a sudden, you feel like yourself again. It's like, oh yeah, I already know what I'm all about. And we all feel it. It's not me. There's nothing special about me. All of us. That's what I think Kundalini Yoga does so well. What I always say is like the magic trick that we always perform in a good Kundalini Yoga session is that you shrink all your stresses. Meaning all the things that were overwhelming me, my bank account is suffering, or this relationship thing, or whatever it is that's causing us to feel like everything is falling apart, nothing is going well. Then all of a sudden, it seems like you do the practice, you come out, and then everything has not as big of a deal. But you haven't done anything to the outer world. But what did we do? Open up the system, open up the channels, get the chi flowing, the lens widens. Now you have a more wide-angled lens, so you can, their perspective is different. Instead of a narrow lens where everything is just like, oh no, everything is horrible. Just, sometimes it's just push this that way, push that this way, boom, the circuits are flowing again, the electricity's connected. I feel like myself, I know what I'm all about. And then we go. Yeah. Something like this.
Sounds beautiful and sounds easy, actually.
It is.
Right?
It is, actually.
Why we complicate it so much?
It is easy. The thing that complicates it is the mind. Yeah, it's simple. That's the thing with all spirituality, it's simple. It doesn't need so many philosophy, but philosophy is nice too. But it's simple. Love. It's just love. But then, what I always think of what I'm doing, because I like to teach in a way that's available to anyone, even secular. It doesn't, not religious, you know, secular, because it's simply tuning the instrument. That is the mind, the body, electromagnetism, and if you can keep the instrument tuned, just very naturally you'll do what you're born to do, you know. But that takes, the difficult thing is not the practice itself, actually.
But
practice seems difficult because you look at it and they're holding their arms up, and you get in the first time you do it, it is a little difficult, but
you get sore.
Yeah, you get sore, but you do it a little more, and all of a sudden, I like it. Actually, it feels good. It's like a workout. At first you don't want to do it, then you do it, it's like, oh my God, it was so good. The difficult thing is consistency, and the real magic of Kundalini Yoga or any meditation practice. Just one Kundalini Yoga session, you get so elevated, so wow, beautiful, feels good, amazing, you get high. And that's great, but the real magic of it is when you practice it with some relative consistency over some period of time. That's what Life Force Academy is about. That's why we created that. And that's why we have people practicing with us in over 120 countries in the world, and it's designed to help people have a way to keep a fresh, inspired, consistent practice. Anytime, like once a week is consistent. Maybe some people every day, some people a couple times a week. Different for different people, whatever fits.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And does it work?
It works. Yeah. Well, you try it, but you T-R-Y. Try. Yeah.
And as you spoke about being secular and religious, I read on your website that you come from a Jewish family, and I was wondering if you somehow relate to Judaism as to the teaching or tradition, or if you had to negotiate it somehow.
I never really had to negotiate. I grew up in Jewish family, but in a part of the U.S. where there's very few Jewish people. Me and my brother and sister, the only Jewish kids at a high school of like 2,000 people, you know. So I grew up in a Jewish, but you know, I was bar mitzvah, and I love Judaism, but I don't practice it religiously, but yes, I resonate with the essence of it. Absolutely beautiful. And culturally, yes, my family, you know. However, you know, even though I look like maybe otherwise, I don't think of myself as a religious person at all, you know. More of a mystic, you know, but also I'm a practical mystic. I'm someone I'm just interested in what's real and, you know, what's helpful to, what allows us to simplicity, you know, just being able, how do we actually, it sounds cliche, but yeah, how do we just be able to love? And that is simple, but it's complicated embodying it, because it's easy to love. For instance, for example, when a new relationship is coming together and it's the most amazing thing and all the hormones are
the butterflies,
that's easy to love. But when the relationship is coming apart, if that happens, sometimes it does. I was married for almost 20 years and then it came apart. And if you can love then, if you get that person that it's coming apart, because you do love them, then now we're talking something, you know. If we can, even if it's not coming apart, when it's difficult, that's the opportunity to love. And so that takes work, and that takes transformation of the mind, because I probably have emotional patterns that are not going to have me feeling love in that instance, and that's okay, temporarily, but I don't want to stay there. So that's why in yoga, everything, you always begin and you end everything with what we say, arousing the compassionate heart. Because if it's only about me, my practice and my happiness are going to plateau. If yes, I have to take care of me, I have to have enough happiness myself, but therefore so that I can share that with somebody else. And so the real golden key to me in all the spiritual practices, all the spiritual traditions, is that if I want to be happy, that I have to also be concerned about your happiness. And I just met you. But my happiness is intimately intertwined with my genuine concern for yours, regardless if you're my friend or my enemy, or a neutral, because those are the three statuses of relationships from the yogic perspective: friend, enemy, neutral. Friend is someone that you're feeling a resonation, you wish to help them, they wish to help you. Enemy is someone who is providing your life adversary, and so sometimes our lover becomes our adversary for at least a day or an evening, or sometimes too long. And so then when you have adversarial energy, it's important, because without that, you do not have the opportunity to experience the deeper levels of compassion and love. But these are not the fun parts. These are the hard parts. But if you go through them and you get the love to come out even more because of it, then you will have more fun later. More capacity for fun.
Yeah, I think that this is actually this notion of interconnectedness, basically almost like mutual responsibility for each other. It's an amazing concluding remark for our talk. So maybe I will ask you last question, and that would be, if you can share with us some little blessing or maybe a wish for the upcoming years of the Healing Festival.
Well, first of all, I love this Healing Festival.
We are very happy to hear.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was coming to. But I was drawn to come, and it's better than I could have imagined. You know, it's so beautiful, and the people are so open and receptive and nice and kind, and it's easy. Like, it's easy to be here. It's like grassy meadows, forests, sit on the earth, sun is shining, people are friendly, food is great. So lots of good classes, music. So. Yeah, for this Healing Festival, just for it to continue to thrive, and for the organizers, which is so much, I understand, I'm in the world of production as well. I understand how hard it is and how much challenge is to produce festivals like this, and so that may they be supported, whoever is Martin and the organizers may they be supported, and may all the people be able to come here to feel good and to feel happy and to release their stresses and to feel love and interwovenness together.
And to nourish each other.
And all the children are running around and it's so nice. It's so good to see. It's so nice to have the families and the dogs. And I love it.
We are happy, and thank you very much for your time and for your words. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Timmy.